Welcome to Bluebeam University, Training on Demand. The punch process has traditionally been a very manual and tedious process, tracking at the end of a project all the items that need to be fixed or need to be repaired or changed. Is often done manually by walking around a job site with drawings and making notations on those drawings and then transferring them to an Excel spreadsheet for further tracking. The idea of what we're going to discuss here today, a very high-level overview, is how you could do punch electronically using Bluebeam PDF Review. So transferring that manual paper process to an electronic process. So to get started, let's talk a little bit about the traditional ways which punch is being done today. For instance, here is a punch legend. So I'm going to walk a job site, and all of these particular symbols are going to mean something specific. A door doesn't latch, or a door needs to be repaired. So I have a legend that I've created of the symbols I'm going to place on the drawing. Then if I go to my next page of the PDF, you'll notice that this is a scan of a room from that drawing, and I've scanned it onto an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper, and I'm going to take all of these pages and make my hand notations as I walk to the job site. So as I walk through, I'll make note of things that are incorrect or need to be changed. Another thing that people do is they actually take the full set of drawings out to the job site with them and fold them in a particular manner so that they can make their notations. Then after you finish making your notations, you still have to go back to the trailer or back to your office to transfer those handwritten notes into an Excel spreadsheet, because you're going to want to keep track who's responsible to make that change. Is there a cost associated with it? Where exactly is this particular area? What is the status of this punch item, and when is it completed? All of that information you're going to want to use Excel to keep track of. The idea of migrating to an electronic workflow is that you would use Bluebeam and Excel to do this same process. Let me go ahead and open up this file here, this PDF file. This PDF file is basically created from AutoCAD to PDF, and I have a floor here. This is a hotel project, and this is one of the floors that I'll be punching. And I want to punch, in particular, I want to punch these rooms right here. So I'm going to kind of zoom into this area here. These are the rooms I'm going to focus on. And you'll notice that on the left-hand side, I have a thumbnail view showing all those different pages where I've taken out a snapshot and put it on a blank page to do the punch process. The way to get a snapshot or a sketch of that drawing in Bluebeam onto a page is simple. I just click here in the thumbnail, right-click to insert a blank page, and I've gone ahead and I've pre-made a template called punch template, and I'll just go ahead and insert that, and you could put your logo here or whatever you choose. And I've left some fields available to be changed, so if I wanted to change this date, I could go ahead and change the date there, or if I wanted to change the room number, I could change the room number. Once I've got that looking the way I want it, I'm then going to go back over here to my first drawing, and I'm going to take a snapshot of this area to basically make it my sketch. And I grab my snapshot tool here, and I basically just took a snapshot of that area. I'm going to click onto my blank page, and I'm going to right click and paste that snapshot. When I do a right click and paste, it's a one-to-one paste, so this is to whatever scale I originally took the snapshot. But in this instance, scale really doesn't matter to me. I just want to have a sketch that I can plop down here on the page to use when I start punching this project or this job. So now that I've got everything looking the way I want, all of this information is good, I'm going to flatten all of these markups by right-clicking on that thumbnail, and I'm just going to choose Flatten Markup. And I want to do that so that I can't accidentally change or move any of that information. I want it to be somewhat static, so when I go out to the job site, it's there, I won't accidentally move it. Now, the normal or the preferred way to do punch electronically would be with a tablet PC, and a lot of our customers are starting to invest in tablet PCs for those people in the field for this very reason. So once I have my tablet PC and I'm walking the job site, you want to plot those symbols on the page. We do that using the tool chest. So I'm going to click on the tool chest here, and I'm going to expand this out so you can see each of the tools that I've created. So just like we would manually set a legend of all of our symbols so that we can make note of issues that need to be fixed, we do the same thing here with the tool set. So I've pre-created a couple tool sets. You'll see that I have electrical, plumbing, paint, flooring, lighting. You can make these be whatever you want them to be. It's completely customizable, and you can make them for whatever makes sense for your punch process. And within each of these disciplines, I've created a symbol to represent something that's an action that needs to be done. So for instance, let's just start punching this room. So I'm on the job site with my tablet PC, and I want to start punching. So the first thing I notice is that there is an electrical issue, and the electrical issue happens to be that there is an incomplete installation of a faceplate. So I'll just go and grab that one, and let's say that there's a couple other things. There's some exposed wires that are showing that shouldn't be around this wall here. Or let's say we have a plumbing issue where we have installation is incomplete. So right over here by the lavatory there's an installation that's incomplete. Or let's say that there's a lever, it's uneven, it's not symmetrical right here by the tub, and I want to make that notation there. So as we continue through the room, we notice there's a paint issue, so there's an area where I notice there's some touch-up that needs to be done, so I'm going to grab that symbol and plop it there. For flooring, I notice that in the bathroom there's a tile that needs to be replaced because it's chipped, and it's right here by the sink, and I'm just going to plop that there. Or for instance, there's a lighting issue and they've used the wrong type of lighting in the bathroom, and I'm just going ahead and place that there. So as I'm walking through the job, noticing these issues that need to be punched, I just simply grab a tool from the tool set and plop it on the page as I walk through each room. If there's something that, for instance, like here's a cleaning thing. So let's say that the glass needs to be cleaned, it's scratched, or it needs to be removed and replaced. I can plop this symbol down here. Something needs to be changed. But what if I'm in the job, on the job site, walking the job, and the pre-selected symbols that I've created, there's something I've come across that I wasn't anticipating. I need to create a new symbol. Well, that is also fairly easy. I'm just going to zoom in here so you can see. So here is my symbol, if you will, and it has a subject, and as you see, as I let my mouse hover over it, there's a pop-up giving me what the subject is, or what the issue is. So glass, clean if scratched, remove and replace. Let's say I needed to change that. There was another issue. Let's say that the glass was actually broken. So let's double click on that to highlight the letters, and let's just say BG for broken glass. And then I want to change the wording that was in the comments as well. So I do that by opening up on the right hand side here, my properties panel, and I want to change this. So not only was it needed to be cleaned, but let's say that this is broken glass, please replace. So I just want to say that that needs to be replaced, and I'm going to. So now I have a symbol with the new information that I made on the fly while I was out at the job site, and I'm just going to add it to my tool chest by right-clicking on this particular markup. I will select Add to Tool Chest, and I'm going to select it from my cleaning punch. And if we look over here, from my cleaning punch, there it is. It's now been added to my tool set. And these symbols are nothing more than just a circle and some text, and it's very easy to create your own set of symbols, and then by putting them in each of these particular tool chest categories, you then create further information that you can use when you want to then look at who's responsible for each of these items. So if we look at a couple other pages where I've gone through the job and walked on the job and made these notes, like here's another page, I've put down some text where I wanted to add some information for them in addition to the symbol, and I've done that with each of the pages here. Now the next part of this process that comes into play is transferring this information to some form of an Excel spreadsheet or something where you can interact with the information. Well, as I'm placing each of these symbols on the page, I'll lift up my markups list here. We are keeping track of each of those markups here in the markups list. And the great thing about this is it reduces the redundancy of needing to manually re-enter that information into an Excel spreadsheet. So here I have some things available. I have a subject, I have the page, I have a status. I'm going to turn that status off for now. We'll talk about that a little bit later. I have my comment, and I also have a responsibility field. So if I wanted to see everything that's on page 2, I'm sorted here by the page number, and if I go through this, you'll see that, okay, so these are all the things on page 2, these are the items on page 3, and as I click on them, it'll automatically show them and jump to them here in the interface as well, showing them on the PDF. But let's say I wanted to sort by the subject. And in this case, I've given every tool set a subject of who the discipline is that is responsible for it. So these are all the issues there's 6 issues for my electrical guys on this 5-page PDF. There's 6 issues. And I can even go a little bit further to specify who's responsible by adding a name. So here you'll notice that my electrical guy, let's say my electrical guy's name is J. Jones. So if I wanted to enter information or name here, I just double click and I just start typing J. Jones. And because I've already typed this name in prior to starting the video, Bluebeam remembers that for me and does an autocomplete, so I could actually go through each of these areas here and start typing in his name. And as well, there's some other fields here as well where other people are called out. So in addition to their discipline, I have an ability to give it a specific name. Well, let's say for painting, I have 2 guys who do painting for me. So let's say the first painting guy is P. Oliveira, and so again, this is going to be Peter Oliveira. So these are all the things that he's responsible for. But these 2 on page 5 are actually a different guy. It's a different painting issue, and that guy is B. Owens. So I can enter that information in, and because autocomplete's there as well, review will autocomplete it for me. But I can then further separate by not only the discipline, but also whose responsibility is. So if I want to look at a high level or a detailed level of whose responsibilities are listed here, I can sort by responsibility, and I can see how many things B. Owen has to look at, how many things Mr. Jones has to look at, and how many things are there for Mr. Oliveira. So there's a couple different ways using the markups list to be able to sort and view this information. The final step in this process would be then to take this information and summarize it in an Excel spreadsheet. And by doing electronically, you've saved yourself from having to do it manually. And there's a couple different ways to do this. We can export a summary, a CSV summary, which will dump right into Excel, and it'll just automatically take all that data and dump it into Excel. But we also offer something called XML summary, and the XML summary, when used in conjunction with Office 2007, gives a pretty slick output file. And I'm going to show you just quickly how to do that. I'm going to create an XML summary, and I'm just going to click on that, and I'm going to say I actually want just pages 2 to 5, because the first page doesn't really have any information. So I'm going to summarize pages 2 through 5. Click OK, and I want to put that on my desktop, and I'm going to call that 105-1. So that file has now been saved to my desktop. In order to open that up or to import it into Excel, I'm going to open up a template I've created. So I just opened up a blank sheet of Excel here. I added our logo, I added some text here, and I've hidden some columns that when that data comes in, there's some information I just don't need. So I've saved this kind of punch template file in Excel already. And I'm going to import this data XML file. So I'm going to click Data, and I'm going to import it from other sources. And this happens to be an XML data import. And I'm going to click on that. So now it's browsing, saying where is this file located, and here's the file I just saved on my hard drive. So punch building 105-1 XML, and I'm going to say open. So now it's saying, okay, here's this data, I'm going to dump it in. Where do you want me to start this data? Well, I've hidden columns A and B, so it's automatically defaulting to C. But in reality, column A still is there. So I'm going to click A to insert a column A, and then I'm going to say okay. So now all that information comes over. Who is the subcontractor that I have here? So all my subcontractors are here. What's the particular comment? What is the item that needs to be addressed? And who's responsible? So everything I've entered into Bluebeam has come over here. Now, if I need to do some of those further high power calculations, meaning what are there dollars attached to some of these punch list items, who's paying for it, all of those higher calculations that you normally do in Excel, you can continue using all this information to further format this template now as your template for punch. And most everybody already has Excel, so with Bluebeam and Excel together, you can create a very simple but powerful tool for punch. So let's go back to our Bluebeam screen and talk about another process that's involved with punch, and that's the back check. Here is where we're going to turn on that column that I had on earlier called status. So I'm just going to click here to select that column and turn it back on. And great, here's our status. So I'm Sullivan, my name is Sullivan, and I'm going to go back out to the job site and I'm going to check each of these items. So in this sense, I'm going to do a page sort. So I'm sorting by page, and I'm going to start with page 2 and walk through this room. The electrical guy told me that this switch was completed and he put it in. So I'm going to walk to the job site. I take a look. Yes, it is complete. He's absolutely right. If I right click on this status column, I can now set a status to this, and I'm going to say accepted. And it's going to say accepted by my name and the date and the time with which I was out at the job site. And I'll step through each and every single one of these to set a status saying, okay, it's accepted. Or if you prefer, you can set a status and say it's completed, meaning I've gone out to the job site, I've taken a look, I can confirm it is completed. And because this is set by my computer, by my name, nobody can come in and change it. It is a permanent record. If for some reason these accepted statuses said that, well, it didn't necessarily mean that it was completed, but that the sub said, yeah, I accept responsibility, I'm going to take care of that, it is on my dime, I can go back and say a few days later I went back to back check that part of the project. I can right click again, set status, and this time I'm going to say completed. And so each time that status changes, it'll keep track of that status change. So nobody can go in there and change it. It is a permanent record of what the status was when you set it and who it was set by. So hopefully you've been able to see today with this very high level overview how you can do the punch process in Bluebeam, keeping it all electronic, reducing your paper usage, and hopefully saving you critical time on your projects.